leading the league. And not only that, John, he has the most kills in the league right now as well at 48. And this might be a big ban coming out from Parabellum. This is what we saw last week get utilized so very much by the offense of Astralis. Ace, constantly a big pickup, especially for Forest, even though he did highlight that blitz pick a lot on offense. So we'll have to see how this one ends up shaking down. Habana also going to go off the board as well. If you guys didn't notice, it's actually both of the ranged hard breachers gone. So everyone's going to have to approach the walls and hopefully not get exploded because of it.
Thankfully, hard breach isn't going to be quintessential for quite a few of these, so you still be able to work things in a worst-case scenario, but you're definitely going to be wanting to have it. Obviously, we see both teams wanting to make that process a little bit more difficult regardless. Defensive bans are not going to be too surprising. Valkyrie, again, still pretty much top of the pecking order for the 11:15 a.m.
Oh, man.
For me, that's really
my blackout shades. They're not blacked out enough. The sun's peeking through. It's waking me up. But you know, it is going to be a pretty bright day. It's going to be a pretty red day as well, as it's a lot of red here in this lobby. Astralis versus Parabellum here in beautiful, sunny Italy. Let's get right into this. Haven't had a Villa since, well, last week, have we? So
it's the last game we casted, I'm pretty sure. So.
Oh, man. Got to hit you with a curveball every once in a while, John.
All right, well, let's see if there's going to be any curveballs in the setup from PB. Not looking too likely just based on the operator selections here. We've got a nice amount of delay, along with that extra roam utility, of course, the usual extension going over here towards the main stairs. No deployable shield being set up in that area that I can tell they're going to put their only other deployable shield up on top of the map instead to create a nice little play space, actually, against Astralis, especially if they're going to continue to push in the direction they usually tried to play this set in their attacks from before, which was from that statuary side. So at the moment, that deployable shield setup is pretty smart if they're able to lure Astralis into that trap towards the later point in the round. And again, we can see it. Astralis coming in as we expected from the statuary side of the map here. So good read so far in the situation for PB in their setup.
Great mindset for utility, though, from Astralis. Bringing a lot of what is necessary to break up something like this. They've even got some info game to play around with those logic bombs. If these are used appropriately, they can not only force someone back, but potentially get a big kill here. They're going to know Doc is inside of Trophy. He's got two over on the master side and one trying to work their way around the building here. A little swing through with somebody watching his board. Doc will get by the skin of his teeth. Somehow the shots don't land, but Astralis now has the side of the building.
Quick clear from Astralis here, and that means, once again, no contest from PB to be able to put down these players early on. It's a good start indeed from our attackers, and now comes the tough part of the round to transition this through 90, through some of the other tough areas of the map and get themselves into the actual site. The good news is they have plenty of time to do this. This initial clear was done with lightning speed. Only about a minute of the 3 minutes total used to be able to get access to this hallway.
Well, DP fire with a Candela out, but it won't be acted upon. Just seeing if there was anybody that potentially wanted to go for a swing off of the plains door. J90 will now assume the position in 90, getting tagged up or rather danced upon. Some bullets through the drone hole. Might try and move up here and get this wall open. Just looking through all of the breach options we have right now, we actually don't have any for Astralis. I do believe that they might have overlooked this and didn't look into their secondary hard breach. Definitely kind of a weird instance for them, as it's going to be a stun off, and they'll at least get Parabellum to fall back farther. But the big issue is that they've got Goyo in play, and with all of those fire canisters around, it's going to be super easy for them to continue this delay. Parabellum's just going to keep lurking for this pick, but it's actually going to be Forest that makes the move towards main stairs.
Doc potentially going to be
Blaz is down too.
Yeah, Blaz getting down to also here. Kool-Aid spotted now behind the bar. Won't be able to play out from his position too aggressively anymore. Blaz definitely not redeemable, unfortunately, due to the late positions that BB have now had to fall back into and try to play out throughout the rest of this round here. Final Candela is going to be dumped in as the play is being made, but Kool-Aid making his own play. Bit too overzealous though as he goes directly into the waiting arms of Iconic, who shuts him down. Doc has him cut off and nearly grabs the second one, but he gets lured in by the planter. And with that, Astralis will be able to shut down the rest of the round and take a convincing first point here.
The play-making ability of Fofos on XD. Astralis hits an obstacle at the top of red. They move down towards 90. J90 is going to hold that and make sure that nobody can rotate around bookshelf or try and swing out from bar. And they're going to just reach kind of a stagnant moment there. But what you see is this little blue silhouette skip across the first floor and make its way all the way over to main stairs. That just happens to be Forrest taking out Asian. And that's going to be the first domino that knocks down Parabellum. especially after we see, I do believe, Doc go for the big swing with the Goyo and end up getting downed as well, and that right there is all hands on deck for Astralis. They see blood in the water, and they're immediately going to hop upon Parabellum, take control of that site, and end up just taking them out at the end of the day. Didn't even need the plant to go off, just got the bodies instead. Astralis up 1 round here. Moving into the second, Parabellum don't want to go back to AVG. You're going to throw things to the north and go for trophy and statuary.
Yeah, for the most part, a masterclass takedown there from Astralis. PB.
Especially with no hard breach, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't open a single wall there, by the way. Quite interesting stuff.
PB tried to throw out aggression in quite a few different departments, whether it was the extension over here, or what was the previous round, of course.
They don't want hard breach, John.
No, they don't.
DP Fire has access to it on Ying. They're just not going to play hard breach. Instead, they're going to play literally all smokes. This right here is just like faux walls. That's how you can kind of look at it. I mean, you might have some background in that. 6 smoke grenades, John. What do you think of that?
This is going to be an interesting one from Astralis. Let's wait and see how exactly they try to get themselves into the site with this one. And then this is baked behind the Candelas too, which could be kind of like rolled in through those smokes. Is a bit of surprise. You know, obviously you're going to have the audio cue, but you're still not going to have an exact idea of where they're being tossed from. And those blinds will still end up affecting you just as prominently. So Astralis going for a shock and all tactic more than likely towards the end of the round. They're going to need to set themselves up for it first. Last round they didn't have too much of a problem doing that. PB pulled back their extension game very early on, right around this same marker at about 2 minutes on the clock here. And unfortunately just didn't really have enough map control to play out from the inside of the site at this point. DP Fire, no respect as he goes for the entry on bar, shuts down Blaz, and Shuttle will do the same exact thing over on the other side of AVG by taking out Asian.
That was such a quick wrap on the building. They've already got all the window repels done. This is a completely different Astralis, and to be honest, this is what I was hoping to see today. This is why I picked them in our predictions, because I was banking on the fact that they could have a big bounce back, and at least through these first 2 rounds, it's looking solid. They got 2 nice picks. Yes, Iconic went down, but he's got an Asian and Blaz. These are 2 big players, 2 of the biggest players in the last handful of weeks for Parabellum. Practically the basis of this team's success. Now dead in the water. Remaining members of Parabellum now have to try and pull them back through this. J9O lurking here in benches. Can't find too much. Not trying to push himself too far forward without information, especially with how close Kool-Aid in particular is playing towards this trophy door.
PB don't want to give anything away now. Unfortunately, now they've fallen behind, even with the 1 trade they got against Iconic.
Oh,
what a shot from Kool-Aid, though. Pretty sure it's a 1-tap to take down the next member of Astralis. Shuttle also falls after the fact here. Much stronger interior sight hold this time from PB. It's working out swimmingly here, just not giving away any of the intel and only peeking into these small little pixel angles that Astralis, unfortunately in this round, have just not been able to contend against. DP Fire waiting for an opportunity to trade out. Knows he's got a player to his left over here inside of Statuary, but has nothing to really force that player out. Could obviously use the Candelas, but they want to really try and preserve that for the execute, and they'll never really get the chance. Unfortunately, it's all down to DP Fire now. Kool-Aid has found the other pickup against the last other remaining member of Astralis. So DP Fire, what can he do here in the 1v3? Trying to bait out the shots. The timing, unfortunately, just is not there. And the aim not able to catch the small peaks we're getting from the inside of Trophy itself. Eska gets the credit for the final kill. And it's a quick response from PB to tie us up now at 1-1.
Very, very nice try from Astralis, but Parabellum, lethal dose right off the spawn side, as they're actually, or right off the bomb site rather, as they're both playing towards the far end doors to try and counteract Astralis pushing in through benches and bore. I love the play. You know, don't play too far back. You're trying to fend them off, especially when you're in a 4 versus 3 like that. You're not nearly as low on man count, and really all you need is a slick shot like what we saw out of Kool-Aid, and he's got the mechanical ability to do stuff like that. And not only that, but he's smoked past that, so he gets that kill, and then he can immediately shut down anyone trying to push into him. Just a quick smoke grenade right into Boar, and makes it very hard for Astralis to try and recover that frag. Very well done from Parabellum to make a grand stand when it mattered most.
Going to see a few repicks coming in for Astralis for the second attempt to go in the trophy, or rather into AVG. Of course, already finding that success previously on the first round. We're going to see a little bit of a stylistic change up here. They want a little bit more soft breach to be added to the equation. Apparently, they're not feeling the Candelas were that effective either, so they're going to switch that back over to the Doke that they originally had back in round 1. one. Obviously, Forest, too, will have gone over and bring those destructive drones into play to deal with some of the insight utility a little bit more proficiently. But again, just like the past 2 rounds, like you mentioned, no hard breach being brought to the table here. They don't feel they need it to access this site.
I feel like I just keep getting baited as well because they keep bringing ops that have it as a secondary utility, and I'm just sitting here patiently waiting in the lobby, seeing if they're going to actually end up bringing the hard breach out for me to see. But no, Astralis feels confident in this, and I mean, honestly, why not? Especially with so much soft breach as well as like the destruction capabilities of what Forest is bringing to the table. You know, those Rotero drones can get rid of a lot of the defensive standpoints of Parabellum and make it really difficult for them to try and play around some of these far reaches of the site. So Astralis can definitely exploit this to the point where they can do what we saw them do last time in AVG and more than likely bowl over the defensive opposition. Jan, I know, I actually do believe is in downstairs. Not only that, though, he actually has the case right now. So a little worrisome, depending on how you want to look at it, but J9O more than likely got it. We'll have to see. Move his way in towards lobby. Does have Asian right above him. He's going to go for a swing. It's a little scary. Going to have some stuns out, and it's going to force Asian back, who will soon be drone, but he's just trying to play around this main stairs and delay as much time as humanly possible.
Indeed, wasting timeout is the key to success here. Another important note when we talk about Astralis' hard breach game 2 is because of the way the PB is setting it up, leaving that one half on the study soft and a few other areas of the map being left in a similar position. They don't necessarily need it. Like we were talking about before, they can still be able to access the site. More importantly, access good sight lines without necessarily needing to open up any additional walls here. Nice nade from down below, deals with that canister that was also positioned there in the previous rounds. It's just Astralis learning from the previous rounds and playing things out a little bit more quickly this time, about 20 seconds ahead of the time they blew that up in the first round here. So still need to see the entry come through, though. That's where we haven't seen the confidence work as well as it did back in round number 1 for us. Finally ready to move into the timing is perfect. Catches Eska with his back turn, trying to go for a check towards Bar. Free kill, but the problem is he was the only one to move in. He had 0 support, so was not able to sustain that position. Had to back into study once again. We've kind of reset it as a result of that, and obviously Asian has Hawkeyes on the study door now, watching out for the re-entry from Forest.
Yeah, Forest with the golden eye sneaks in, takes down a single target in the likes of Eska. Scampers back off into study, playing his life now. Do they know someone's inside of Skull? They don't. Blaz! He can't get the second, but Doc's there to help him. Astralis now down to 2 bodies, and they haven't been able to push forward till Forest. He'll sneak all the way through plane towards the top of red. Doc wasn't ready for that. It's a 2 versus 2. But who has the case? It's going to be Iconic. They're moving towards the bar door now. 20 seconds remain. Kool-Aid has no smokes, but he's got an angle off the bar. Soft paneling here. Can abuse this. Try and prevent them before they even get into the site. No hard eyes, though. Iconic's going to move in towards the back. I don't even think that they know that he's here. He's going to pre-fire. He can't find the person over by the bar. Kool-Aid will at least get 1, but it's all up to him now to try and stop this plant. Iconic's halfway through it. Kool-Aid dashes. It's going to be super close, ladies and gentlemen. Kool-Aid doesn't know where he is. Iconic hides behind the shield, and he gets the frag. Astralis up 2-1.
Iconic with a massive clutch there after the plant. Had to take the huge risk, the 50-50 gamble on the plant as to whether his opponent will be able to catch him in time or not. And critical mistake for the last player alive on PB. Thinks they went for the gun vault door plant instead of the plant behind the map table. And that critical blunder gives Iconic, as you can see on the replay, that split-second decision-making capability that he needs to shut down the round in his team's favor.
That right there shows you exactly why Forest and Iconic are such important players to this same team. Have you ever seen a Flores be as aggressive as that? That man walked through planes while there's still people in the site, John.
I don't think we actually saw Rotero.
They could just kill him if they were holding the door, but he just walks all the way to the top of red. The timing there is impeccable. Like, I cannot fathom that this is what we get out of Fofosan over and over again. And the thing is that he just does it over and over again. So It's not like a mistake. It's not a fluke. It's just so incredible to witness something like that. I mean, really putting the team on his back when they needed him most to make a play there.
All right, well, let's see if they can potentially bring that kind of energy to the fold. Once again, PB looking to rebound, of course. Still going to have the other upstairs site locked away because they won that back on round 2, so they're making a return to the first floor this time. Not feeling the 3rd try on AVG with the way that the first 2 attempts have panned out, so it's into the kitchen instead here.
Ooh.
Bit of a change up to the operator lineup's going to come with that. Really, again, we're going to see the Maestro brought in just to have those evil eyes for the extra intel. Asian wants his extra roaming capability boosted a little bit more, so he is going to go over and bring those goo mines into the fold. Aside from that, though, pretty reasonable setup that you would expect here, with really Blaz being another outlier there on the Mozzie.
John, you like country music?
Not really, but...
Oh, yeah, because this setup's really looking like wide open spaces, I tell you. They got a lot of panels missing down low, but it's on purpose. They want to try and play aggressively so that Astralis can't get to these walls and blow them up in places like Laundry. I think there's a couple missing upstairs as well. So we'll see how Parabellum wants to try and work around that, or if Astralis can just straight up circumnavigate it. They brought Hard Breach this time. They've already lost a handful of drones. They have the EMPs on Forest to try and assist as well, but I don't necessarily know where they're going to be able to use it. They've actually found a home for it. It's going to be right here inside a vault. Asian's ready for it. He hasn't found his first kill yet, but oh my god, Shuttle sure did. What a setup. I didn't even see that coming through, even though we saw him move down that tunnel. They were ready for that hatch drop.
That's the good news, though. Getting a little bit adventurous there. Decides to peek out over towards the Astro stairway. Manages to catch Iconic, trying to move his way in through Mudroom. Nicely played out there. At least equalizes out the player count, but certainly going to be missing the potential roam pressure that would have come in from Asian if he was able to sustain himself for just a little bit longer there. By the way, though, half the round has now been wasted away. Astralis continuing to clear things out, specifically here towards the living room area. Not fully confirmed that this has been cleared out as of yet. They want to take their time with this, make sure that they analyze all options before trying to crunch in, especially considering that, again, the upstairs positions have been left untouched so far here as well. That is going to change over the next few seconds, though. Blaz, so easy as he just sprays his way around the corner to pick up kill number 2 for his squad. Doc gets the third by knocking out Shuttle. Things not looking so promising here for Astralis on this round. They're going to try to make up the difference, though, on the upstairs hold, and just not looking like it's going to end up happening. I'm not sure how Doc ended up going down to Kool-Aid's Nitro, but it happened. And then Forrest is now left alone in the 1v3. As you can see, probably no case control either. He's going to have to cross the hall to get that, but he won't even be given the chance. Blaz takes him down. PB respond again to tie us up at 2-2.
That skull position is so annoying. I don't know if you've noticed that Blaz has been there like 2 out of 3 times in these rounds, but that little area where you can sneak right into that corner at the top of red, always a nice area to try and maintain, especially because the angles are pretty easy for you to try and make sure that you don't get seen by a drone or something like that. So just a very solid position play from Parabellum, and again, it was an aggressive look from them, and it pays off. They get a lot of big kills, even though Astralis get that lead-off pick with a nice hatch drop there coming out of Asian. But still, Parabellum are able to bounce back, especially since they had kind of that lurking I almost said Monsang. Oh my gosh, what's our all-the-wheeling man on defense? I can't remember his name right now. It's escaping me.
Maestro.
Maestro. Yeah, I was having a brain fart there for a second. Yeah, but since Maestro was lurking around instead of just sticking on site, they're able to get a big play in that sense and shut down Iconic, because if he is allowed to get on site as Nook, you now have a major issue. Astralis can completely flip the script. They don't need top control anymore. They don't even need library controller or living room or anything. They just need to get to site and get that plant down. So very, very well done for Parabellum to make sure that that line did not happen.
Interesting switch up for Iconic specifically. He's ended up going over towards the IQ, try and figure out some of the positions of this utility. Might become very useful if he can survive towards the late round. We end up in a tense plant situation as well, when you consider that Eska's, of course, brought the Echo, and those yokai drones will be very pesky. It is definitely not going to be the first thing that Astralis look for if they end up having to enter with only like 20 seconds left yet again. So let's hope Iconic's utility is going to come into play there, as he has had to switch off of the comfort pick on the Twitch to be able to go towards this. Away from that, though, pretty usual lineup of suspects here. Force is just taken over the Nook that I believe Iconic was using on the previous round. Unfortunately, Iconic could not accomplish a whole lot with it. They got caught right here, actually. It's going to try to change things up, though, as they were able to clear things out in kitchen this time. No resistance from PB there, but Kool-Aid is going to be able to take down DP Fire from up on top, believe it or not. I'd be curious to see this angle, how it worked out, but regardless, finds that first kill. And there we go. We can see it now as the hop-in from Pantry is where he catches him.
Yeah, it's not even a hop-in. That's a rappel there for the Pantry area. So you actually have to get up on that. I don't know if he was trying to swing in or what have you, but either way, that's a dead DP Fire, and that's logic bombs on the floor that'll be wasted for round 5. Astralis going to be kicking themselves about allowing that one to slip through the cracks.
That's their. That's going to be the Dokkaebi gone too. So they just lost both their phone calls. They didn't use the other one yet.
You mean the logic bombs I was just talking about?
Yeah. Oh, I just call them you call them the full name. That's
our job.
It takes up too much memory for me.
It says the person that just forgot.
It's
Maestro's
a phone
name.
call, okay? Like.
Oh my goodness gracious!
You just hit the ignore button and it goes away.
That's yeah, but you have to hit it like 6 times. All right. My do not disturb does not work for Dokkaebi.
Well, why does it work the 6th time? That's the real question.
That is the real question. I don't really know. You're going to probably have to ask Astralis the same thing, because they're probably wondering why this isn't working for the 6th time either. But let's see. It's going to be a slow opener past that DP fire pick. They've gotten in down low, some frag grenades out, and I mean, this is basically ground to a halt, -4 is down low. I'm trying to see if we have anything else going on. Not really. J9O is going to be able to get a pickup. They had a supporting unit downstairs, but Shuttle's now dead to the world as well, since Blaz will just double back over and take him out. Iconic, one of the remaining souls alive on Astralis, looking to see if he can get anything back in blood. They have a flank coming through on Study's side, but I don't know if they have a drone in play for that at the current moment. 35 seconds remain for Astralis to try and make a play here, but Parabellum are swarming around them.
Astralis kind of losing the plot for this round, unfortunately.
Nice.
Yeah, are able to eventually catch Blaz as they did route his rotation back through main stairs, was able to expect his position on the inside.
Oh, this is an angle.
AVG, indeed it is, and it's going to be, oh wow, big risk being taken here. The plant, and it nearly leads to a
J9.
team kill. Oh man,
no.
Astralis just could not get anything to work in this round, unfortunately, except for the trade on a Blaz, and even then, Blaz is not losing any sleep over that. You see it let at least 2 for 1 in that round. Beautifully played here on the defense by Parabellum. Very annoying to play against, and you can tell Astralis was really struggling with it all that round.
They're doing a very good job of keeping their roamers active, especially when they're in a man-up situation. They're constantly keeping Astralis guessing, and that's something, especially on a map like Villa where there's just so much going on, it's super annoying to deal with, because you're trying to deal with, you know, clearing. You're trying to deal with getting hard breach done and supporting angles and making sure that your breacher doesn't get swung on and die and all these other things, and then you also have 2 people that are just roaming around the map randomly. It's just, it's an amalgamation of crap, man. Let me tell you, it's not very fun. So you got to feel for Astralis. But the good news is they've at least gotten 2 rounds, and they have a chance to keep this at a dead heat here in round 6.
See if they get the job done. This is the side where we would have expected Astralis to try and pick up a lot of rounds, just considering the results from their previous match day. So we're paying very close attention when, of course, we get to the 7th round to see if Astralis has fixed some of the problems on their defense. And again, that problem, in part, relied on the over-reliance of some of the top-ended players from Astralis being able to perform. Obviously, on the attacking side, you can kind of keep the team together, and those players can pick up the slack where, like, maybe an entry player will fail to find a kill. On defense, it's a little bit harder, is obviously, especially at the beginning of the round, you got to spread those players out and still be able to maintain decent map control until you get down to around 130 or lower, depending on where the team's comfortability is for that sort of situation.
Yes, indeed. Well, Parabellum going to be going back to similar straights. We're going to bring back in Asian with the Azami here, be able to set up all of her kunai, give them some extra cover, and then you have the Goyo canisters as well working their way in. And honestly, I'm really enjoying this version of Goyo, especially with the 1.5. He was always a pretty fun character to play, but obviously the shields were just a little overdone. I like the canister that we have now, especially because you can kind of set it and forget it, let some of your anchors utilize that and try and work with some more delay. And speaking of those, there's a perfect showcase of how those work. Those will stick around for about 20 seconds, and it does quite a bit of damage if you want to try and work your way through it. And speaking of working your way through, J9O, he's already gotten control of at least the initial stairwell. J9O will work his way in towards Trophy, but it's actually going to be Forrest to strike first, really upping that entry stat for AST.
This guy's been one of the shining stars on Astralis that have been bringing that stat to the forefront of the team, so still good to see him remaining strong in that respect. How does Astralis look to move forward from here, though? They haven't been able to deal with this hold twice now. So just kind of repeating that progress and making sure they lock this one in for a 3rd time so they can at least guarantee the tie now as we get past halftime. Things are going to slow down quite a bit, though, after that first entry. They're waiting to see what the response would have been from PB. It's quite tame, except for that peek from Eska right there. No one trying to get crazy and jump into the faces of Astralis here, so I think in a second or two, they will call things all clear. Especially with that kill, they'll call things all clear. Ready to move on to the site. Yeah, PB just overplaying the hand here, unfortunately. No success in their own extended game, and now whatever's left of the anchor play on the site itself is more than likely going to be too weak to follow through with the rest of the round. Doc with a nice pick. He leaves himself exposed, though, I believe, to play from the top of red stairs, and that's how he'll get downed. Eska now alone with less than 20 HP to play with as well. This is going to be tough.
Astralis with some insanely controlled pacing here for the last round of their offensive half. They're going to tie it up 3-3. The patience game paying off for them. They get that initial pick, and they wait out Parabellum. They know that eventually they're going to be going for those big swings. I mean, we even saw it as Parabellum continued to lose bodies. They took that challenge there inside a study to take down Forest, and they immediately get killed from the top of red. Astralis has been prepared for that aggressive playstyle of Parabellum. It just all came together really in that last round. And, well, now we're going to be switching gears. Astralis is going to be on defense for the very first time. And all in all, I'd say a pretty respective side for, or pretty respectable side for both respective sides of this one. PB with some pretty solid circumstances. I really like their kitchen defense, especially that they had going on there. More of an aggressive look that really caught Astralis off guard. And you can even say that about their top hold that they had in Trophy and Statuary, where they were playing more aggressively to the south side of the room and took out Astralis near benches and boars. So either way you slice it, you could really say one of these teams is ahead. I'd just like to say the word dead heat.
Yep, definitely need to take another look, unfortunately, at the AVG defense, as they just could not lock that one in despite 3 separate attempts at it. Those are all 3 of the rounds that we ended up giving to Astralis at the end of the day as well. Now it's time to see how Astralis, of course, looks to hold on to this one. Some interesting choices being made on the operator line. For the most part, it's pretty straightforward, actually. But the cap can is going to be one that we'll pay very close attention to there for Forrest, as he's looking to catch the players on Parabellum in a moment of indecision as they try to rush their way through a doorway, more than likely with limited time. That's where that fatal mistake is often made, especially considering for those who haven't been watching Siege in the last year or two, there was a pretty big change made to cap can in that you can now stack the EDDs, which means you can outright kill someone from a single doorway, which was impossible previously.
And he's got 5 of those things now as well, given that. So if you do end up stacking them, they can actually outright down somebody now instead of being what they once were. Forrest is going to go for an aggressive peek over here inside of Art Studio, but he's only going to find bullets. Now he's got to try and work his way back, but fortunately enough for him, the timing works out. This guy, so lucky sometimes, let me tell you. Logic Bomb out, and Forrest is going to get tagged up again, but it's actually going to be Shuttle that is the next one to receive some damage, but nobody dead just yet.
Still, though, pretty weak on the health pool side of things for Astralis, being unable to exchange that back, but as you mentioned, without actually locking in the kill. I doubt PB are going to take into account the shots they landed too heavily here. It's one-shot headshot. It's still very easy for the players at low HP to find just as much effectiveness as if they were sitting at full themselves. Soniq, of course, going to have his ire drawn towards Doc's position there, with him just having slammed open the window by Bust. Not going to see any immediate reaction, though. Neither team trying to make a play, but it's Blaz to strike first, finally. After about half the round transpires, Shuttle will end up being the first to fall on the mute for the defense. No immediate reaction to that from either side, though. Just really composed hold from PB. They're waiting to see if there's going to be an aggressive swing, and it looks like we are going to get one towards White. Unfortunately, the angles don't work out here for PB to properly support each other, but Kool-Aid, the pixel trade onto Iconic. A nade going deep as well. That might do some damage. Looks like it banked the wrong way, though. And a nice defense being put out here by J9O. He stems the tide just a little bit further here. Locks us into a 3v3 with the trade onto the player trying to push Study.
This is a scary round, and it could build up to be DP fires. He's got a Twitch run on his feet, and it's actually going to turn on as soon as he looks back to shoot it. They're going to know that he's at the top of main, but do they know that Forrest is downstairs? Doc as well as Kool-Aid, both here. Forrest, he's got the timing, but I believe the sledge is going to check. Oh, Doc, does he have it? Oh, it's going to be the swing from the staircase instead. DP fire. He's going to down one. More than likely knows it as well. Forrest, he's just going to stay patient here. Oh, what a stellar position from him. He can just sit here and delay this time, John. He does not need to try and get aggressive. They're going to pre-fire, and he's going to force Forrest to send some shots, but he's going to get the kill anyways. It's going to actually be Forrest that kills the downed man. Doc will fire back, but this timer's eating at them, practically even on health amongst all of the members considered here. Asians is going to be at the top of red stairs. He'll move in for the maps table. He might have gotten through the cracks. DP Fire will take down Doc. Are they aware? But he's not aware of J9O inside of Gun Vault. Astralis take the lead on the defensive end.
Way too little time at the end, unfortunately, for PB. Could not get their drones into the site for the 2v2. Was unable to figure out where those last 2 players had position from. And they were quite mobile as well, trying to constantly shift that. So a very tough game for PB to play out at the end. And that's not even considering, of course, the events that went down over by main stairs. Great adjustment from Astralis to really crunch the push there. And once again, massive props to Astralis for the improvement, even from just their most recent game on this very same map, where we're seeing much better team play on the defense, much more workability between the players, and making sure they make up for the issues that they had last Wednesday.
I mean, hey man, that's what I'm saying. Like, Astralis does a lot of talking about how they are a team that is very confident in and of themselves, and they're here for greatness and all that kind of stuff, and that's great and that's grand. But you got to put your money where your mouth is, and that's what I expect out of these people. You know, you can talk as much as you want, but if you still suck at the game, then you're just egotistical for no reason at all. So, you know, I'm expecting a big bounce back, and that's what we're seeing thus far. You know, obviously both of these teams have been trying to figure themselves out in Stage 3. It's kind of been a discovery period. For Astralis, it's trying to recapture that same light that they had at the beginning of the stage. For Parabellum, it's a new dawn, right? It's a new day. They're trying to work with their 2 new players, and it's been going quite swimmingly, especially with Blast stepping in finally as well. I think Parabellum have been looking quite stellar, but is it good enough to get over on AST with how this defense is starting to build?
Mario are going to come out here as well for Asians. This will be very interesting to see how the Gar hook potentially changes at the status quo for PB. Is going to be against the trophy as well as statuary defense. There's plenty of opportunities to use that from the outside. The window swings as well as quite a few other options. Sometimes a little bit of a buzzkill in the way that it's used is for a lot of these rounds, especially on this side, it's just kind of used for a quick hop into 90, and then that's really it from that point forward. But we'll wait and see. Sometimes we get some nice little chaos here, and we're going to get that to start.
Speaking of which,
yeah, caught out right from the beginning of the round. Once again by Forrest, of course, so still keeping that entry stat nice and tidy for not only himself, but the Astralis roster overall.
It boggles my mind that this man is a hard breach / SAS operator player, and he has the most kills and most entries in the entirety of the NAL. That's just bonkers stats. DP fire, shuttle, Astralis as a whole. I mean, you really can't say the kill feeds lighten up red because they're both red, but I can tell you there's a lot of red on the ground, and it happens to be Parabellum's. A flawless round for Astralis. You let them know, boys. Cool, calm, and collected on this bench right now. Just looking to take this win, it seems.
PB just kind of stun-locked in that round as well, always trying to make plays to make up the difference when they lost players.
A round, then that obviously means that we are at least guaranteed overtime, and Parabellum's points will be stripped. Even if they win it, they'll only win 2 points instead of 3.
Very aggressive composition, at least initially showing for the PB roster. That's starting to shift quite heavily now.
It could be kind of problematic, too. You're having somebody kind of sneaky and somebody that's kind of showed up with some traps over here. So I like this a lot more than I'll be honest, because when you see a Thorn and a Frost, that's bad news bears.
Especially considering that potential Montaigne pick. Oh, no, it's back.
Oh,
we jinxed it a little bit there, so Kool-Aid's gone back towards it.
Oh no, Blaz. Oh, the IQ would have been so nice here, minus the Frost traps. It would have been so great, because he would have known exactly where those Razor Blooms are. So, well, looks like Kool-Aid's going to have his head on a swivel, hopefully not run into something that's going to slow him like a Banshee. I mean, that would just be terrible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be rough for the Montaigne to do anything here, realistically, unless his teammates are able to clear out all the utility beforehand.
I read forward in the script and foreshadowing.
We don't even have like the Rotero drones either to like easily insert them and be able to knock out some of the utility a little bit deeper into these sites when they realize it's going to become a problem. So I'm really worried that PB's going to run into a roadblock here and not be able to work their way past it. But obviously, let's hold our breath for a few moments and wait and see.
Absolutely. See, I'm more interested to see if they're going to try and use Blaz's logic bombs as the clearing mechanism or as a site execute mechanism, because that's really going to see or like show if these traps really pay off. Because if people are trying to be really aggro towards site and then they get caught off by a Frost Mat or a Razor Bloom or something like that, then you're probably going to end up with a few people down or really hurt that weren't exactly expecting it.
DP Fire, of course, going to take up position once again. Alpha rotates have been made on the inside of Astro. You guys see that silhouette? There is a drone, I think potentially 2 drones that have been able to sneak their way into his area of the map. So they should have plenty of intel as to his position here. PB is going to make their first bid on the inside of Astro as well. Kool-Aid's here. Montaigne has made his first entry, but pretty much immediately he's attempting to be taken down as we see a Nitro go out from just below him there. Like we said before, there is a lot of utility that can trip up Kool-Aid here in the process of him trying to move forward as well, so he's going to have to be extra careful with every step he takes. Asian trying to assist him to the best of his capabilities, looking to pick up the trade onto Iconic. If he can find an Iconic, getting adventurous here, he's going to move forward. Oh, and he knocks one down, but the shield gets him in response. They'll have to try and move forward. If they can take out Kool-Aid, there's a chance they bring him back, but meanwhile, Blaz and Kool-Aid are just cleaning things up. Kool-Aid finally getting the finisher off onto Iconic, and then Blaz with one more. PB takes the duel inside of the bathroom and shuts it all down.
All of the traps were on site, or a little weird Frost Mat over there, and I do believe Astro, but that was about it.
Yeah, and they take the fight.
Yeah.
Every single time over here towards Baster.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is they were trying to be aggressive to try and get the big picks off of Monty. That's what you're really trying to do. Monty is hyper lethal in situations where A, you're distracted and he's able to get his shield slid back up, or B, where there's people that are able to play around him because you're having to deal with his threat and then like maybe, you know, 2 other guns trying to collapse on top of you. Those are the 2 big issues when you're trying to play around a Monty. So especially for like Iconic there, I think he makes the right play. He makes the aggressive play, gets gets the swing onto the Nook. Asian goes down. He gets traded out, but the big issue is that Astralis are so hyper-focused on that situation and what's going on over there with the trade and him being down that we immediately see Blaz spring two and pick up 2 big kills inside of Master, and that's really the pace setter for the rest of the round. Parabellum able to take down Astralis in the clutch there, even though it was tied ball game, at least man count wise. 3-3. So Astralis not able to get that fateful round just yet, but looking for their penultimate here in round 10.
Let's see if they can get the job done. A few more changes have come in for PB yet again as well, though ultimately they returned to a very similar lineup that they had on the previous round as well. I mean, it worked, and it worked swimmingly as well. So no reason not to bring it back to the fold again, as I believe we've also seen Astralis fall back on the same site fold. Let's see on a moment for that one, though. Varus gets the lineup, just doesn't get enough shots into Doc, unfortunately, and this is not a position you want to stick around in long term. He'll quickly back away from that. Does go for the check on the drone hole, see if he would have gotten lucky with the positioning on Doc, but doesn't end up happening. Doc obviously freezes up as soon as those shots hit him, and he makes sure that he falls back into a much safer spot to play this out. Forrest, though, still in the area near Mudroom, so we might not be done over there just yet.
I like the big swings initially from Astralis. Forces Parabellum to respect these windows. And you can see that right now. Look at Kool-Aid. He's repelled on the wall, making sure no one's going to try and challenge the bathroom window. Who even does that? Think about that for a second. Who's going to run through bathroom and hop out? I mean, well, Fofo-san is still alive, but Doc is not. The sledge is down. They still have this Monty working its way through, but Astralis, they've already gotten their kill, Parabellum. They don't really care anymore. They're going to move back towards site and force you to try and play this out with a guy that has a big shield and not really a gun.
So we're going to be on AVG, just to correct myself for something I mentioned earlier on in the round. He's lined up now, ready to make that first entry if he gets a peek from Astralis, but has not been met with the response he needs just yet here. Still waiting for the opportunity to come, and it may be here now in the form of J90. He's here first, though, ready to take the challenge. So now our attacker on the other side here does need to be careful as well. Iconic! Oh, he got him! To take him down, and he is going to be able to get it. Obviously took that second peek to be able to lock in the frag itself. Asian engaged in a fight also. Blaz will be able to win one out against Forrest. Downs him deeper into the actual site. Iconic will now have to fall back deeper into it to make up for that position. And of course, because he's at low HP, doesn't really want to be stuck out here for any longer. Things traded out quite evenly, but Astralis still holds the advantage now at a 4v3 as we come down to the final minute of play. And the first of those logic bombs comes in, or rather the second of those logic bombs comes in.
Kool-Aid getting caught in the perfect cross from Astralis. 90 position as well as red stairs. Have to look 90 degrees to the left or to the right, John, and that exposes your back to the other. That's exactly what you want when trying to force a Monty into a bad position. And now Parabellum, well, they're feeling the burn. Still have some smokes instead of DP Fire's pocket as well to try and hold off these doors. Parabellum will work their way in through the initial parts of the gates, but they're going to go quite deep here. DP Fire will at least get one. Blaz will make his presence known inside of Study, taking down Iconic. It's a 2 versus 3. DP Fire out of his last smoke. No more utility available to Astralis to try and prevent this play from going on. Eska's going to have to look for more. He'll be able to get more. J90 goes down. It's now a 2 versus 2. Blaz has the cut. He's got the swing. He's got a DP Fire. Can he get the flank? He can! Parabellum tie it up here on Villa. It's 5-5.
Parabellum not giving up until the end of this game. They bring it back indeed to a tied scoreline. The players on Astralis seem to have the edge for that hole, but when it came to the inside play, fall to pieces despite the 4v3 advantage. Beautifully done here, especially from Eska, working himself on the entry next to Blaz there. Able to get themselves ultimate your entire team in the process and end up winning out a round, you know, with 2 bodies still up. So it's some pretty crazy stuff, but I can definitely see that a lot of teams have been respecting that about Astralis and kind of working that into their own play where, you know, there's never a dull moment. There's never any downtime. You're always looking for that next step that's going to push you to be successful at the end of the round. We've got AVG on deck again for Astralis to try and fix the issues from the previous round here. He'd be able to sneak off a win not only here, of course, back on round 10, but on round 9, winning over inside of Trophy and Stat as well. So Astralis don't really have like a strong site to fall back on at the moment, unfortunately, unless they're going to be a bit more confident in their downstairs holds, which I would assume the fact that they're going back to AVG a second time means that they're probably not necessarily. Could also be wanting again just to retry things in AVG.
Forrest is addicted to this. Just over inside a mudroom, waiting on the window for the sledge the prior round. Now he's all the way over in Laundry, and he might go for the run out here. There's nobody on the receiving end of this. Actually, at a second glance, Blaz is waiting for him. Oh my gosh. He's got everything lined up, and the stars now align for Parabellum to take down the leading entry fragger on Astralis.
Nicely done for PB here. Forrest down and out for the count. Is just going to be the Malusi, so no huge utility loss is sustained. Astralis are smart, obviously, in that respect to make sure that they don't make the same mistake. Did have an explosion here. I'm going to assume that this was an early Goyo canister getting knocked
unlucky.
out. Potentially a nade from down below as well. Yeah, that nade's going to be a little bit short. Unfortunately, they try to take down that canister a bit deeper. So
you get the shield or the canister.
I think that, I think those are actually just both of the nades now that I'm looking at it a bit deeper. Yeah, and so no utility knocked out. Unfortunately, both of the nades from Doc are essentially wasted. Just make someone shuffle out of position for a few extra seconds, and without any execution to follow that up, not really going to call that a successful use of utility at the end of the day.
Quite interesting front here from Parabellum. They're still really concerned about this north side. They have the case all the way on the south, but they're trying to clear out Shuttle here. He's got a lot of goo mines around the space, and potentially some more bogeys working their way up. Oh my god, what an angle from Blaz. They'll take down Shuttle at a moment's notice. Iconics now here though, the savior of this time. They'll take down Blaz and at least make this palatable for Astralis. J90 getting back. Iconic with a big Nitro Cell play. His number's been called up and he's making his presence known. He does not want Parabellum taking this lead back.
Iconic, huge differential being made up right now here, both from the Nitro Cell play and, of course, the pick he found outright. Surprised that PB didn't catch him jumping down below and tried to follow him a little bit more closely. Maybe they did and we just didn't see it, but kind of looked like they ignored him. As I assume they would have been able to catch his jump down, just given the spray he did when he went over the banister. But either way, back down into a 3v3 now. Most of Astralis has fallen back to the site itself, with Iconic being the one glaring exception to that. Fire as well as J90, though I believe are going to be in the confines of the site itself. As you can see, Bookcase being played for quite heavily by one of those members of Astralis right now here. PB attempting to contest against it, but Toxic Babe holding them back, wasting the time away, and a great swing again. These dash peaks are constantly getting the better of the players on PB. Another one found from Iconic. That's his third on the round. Doc alone. Let's see if he can make up for the blunder earlier on the nades, and unfortunately just not going to happen. J90 with too strong of a hold in Gun Vault. It's Astralis first to map point.
Iconic, like a hero out of a comic book, sprints across the map and immediately takes it to Parabellum. They think they have control of this portion of the map, but the Goyo, on a lone Mission Impossible-esque moment, is able to take down a multitude of Parabellum members. That initial shot that we see onto Blaz immediately jumps downstairs, big Nitro Cell play, and then plays out an entire flank moment downstairs in the bottom of Villa. This is what this map was intended for, John. It's for moments like this, where one player can just take control. What a highlight from Iconic there, and definitely one that we'll be talking about if they're able to take this in 7-5 fashion.
Well, yeah, they're going to need to do it 2 times in a row, and like I mentioned before, they are going to need to finally proceed to the downstairs hold. Also, not feeling confident in the trophy play, given how Parabellum was able to give us kind of a masterclass on how to take control of that one, especially with Astralis being baited into quite a few of the fights.
This is going to be really, really awkward given the circumstances of hard breach. This is why we saw PB with some pretty solid success the last time with their aggressive looks towards a lot of these reinforcement panels, because remember, you have to get on the panel currently in order to blow it up. There's not a single hard breacher in the game with these bans implemented that can actually do that from a window. So Astralis is going to take a page out of PB's book, and they're going to actually end up going to kitchen, open up a few of these longer lines of sight, and try and take these fights with Parabellum. This should be a pretty action-packed one.
Let's see here, out Parabellum. It's going to look to clear out this trickier setup from Astralis. Quite detached on quite a few of their players. So there is going to be opportunities to catch some of them. More than likely catch them without trades going out against them as well, if Parabellum is able to succeed and pick up the kills quickly enough. But that will shift pretty rapidly throughout the rest of this round here. So a lot of focus going to be on Forest extension way over in towards Piano. They'll have quite a bit of crunch capability once PB starts to shift past the usual second floor clear that they're going to be going for right now. That obviously pushes against players such as the one sitting over in Astro. DP Fire are going to have to figure out how to handle that over the next few moments, but it's when they finally get past that point and get ready to move down onto the first floor that things get really tricky, and potentially we could see PB get crushed out if they're not careful.
Yeah, Parabellum going for the measure twice, cut once method. They're taking their time. Now the big thing is that this can go severely wrong if they end up going for such a time sink with the info game initially and trying to go for a harsh execute. If they get taken out, at least 2 of them here initially on this entry, that could be the round easily going to Astralis. Some nades out here, DP Fire trying to play for Astro Window. He'll get back in behind this shield. Astralis so far, they've stuck to their guns and stuck to their morals as well. They're not over-peaking. They're forcing Parabellum to do exactly what the offense should be doing. Being offensive, get aggressive, get in the building, get something done. But we're already halfway through this round, and it's all been window repels and droning for PB thus far.
PB, again, just nowhere near enough confidence to be able to make these plays deeper into the building itself. Way too much presence still alive and well for the players on Astralis. Only seeing that pantry control down on the first floor for PB so far. And even then, I don't think they've necessarily hopped the window yet. I still think they're actually sitting outside waiting to drone things out. We're at less than a minute now, folks, to go here. And PB is only just starting to enter the building itself. Still so many different play potentials being made out here for Astralis as well. They've spread out all over the map.
Oh my god, they're planting.
Where are they
what?
planting? How? Like laundry push, right? Surely it has to be. But as they moved in, no, it's going to be coming from Pantry. Instead, they're able to get through it as well. The Matrix from Astralis is spread out too far, but they're coming back into it now. DP Fire picking up 2 with his teammate. And no, it's not enough. PB wrap it up instead. And they sneak the plan in from Pantry. As you said, measure twice, cut once. I don't even know if they really fully cut it, to be honest with you. But it got the job done either way. And it's triggered overtime.
Nah, that wasn't a cut. That was a sever. That's what that was right there. Yeah, rip and tear. Oh my, Parabellum. They tie things up. They send us to overtime. And I didn't see it going down like that. Astralis, they're a much more polished team than that. Allowing Parabellum right into their home. There's less than a minute left. There's 5 bodies up for Astralis at that moment. That plant starts going down with all 5 Astralis members still breathing air, John. That should not be happening.
You got to be careful with those types of extended plays that we saw come out from Astralis on that round. Oftentimes, you leave far too little on the actual site, and plants like that can occur. Not the first time we've seen that happen as well. PB nicely caught those, used a lot of their time on drones in order to find that opportunity, but indeed, the gamble on playing the intel game pays off hugely for them, as it not only gives them another round, of course, but it saves their lives in this matchup quite literally, and has guaranteed now at least a single point if they're not able to follow through with these next 2.
Yeah, it's just a really awkward round for Astralis, really. I love what Parabellum did there. They, again, made it awkward for Astralis, right? Astralis, especially going down to that lower timer, though, you really have to start having that sixth sense of, okay, the closer this gets to 0 timer, the more and more they have to just force this into sight. Now, at 55 seconds, obviously, they can still try and take top control. They have a buck, they have a sled, they can just try and rip that floor open super fast and you know, try and take it away from you that way, force that plant at 0 timer. So I understand, you know, more of the circumstantial map control-esque play from Astralis, but just leaving your home completely open and allowing anybody come in, you know, and just steal your porridge, man. Shouldn't be doing that.
Big mistake from Astralis is going to cost them on the standings here. Now we'll see if they can try to make up the difference to still be able to claim the majority of points in this matchup, or if BB can steal the whole pie outright by taking the 2-1 trade. Bad timing for Iconic here as he checks down the stairs. Meanwhile, Blaz has already made it to the top. He shuts him down for free. That's going to be a good start to the round for the defense, but and Forrest just has no fear whatsoever. And as well, his timing continues to be impeccable, as I'm pretty sure he caught Blaz just when he turned his back to run around Bookcase.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he blows me away every single time he makes a play like this. This is stuff that I would never consider doing in my existence. I'm just saying. Gonna get a drone onto red, and Forrest is gonna work his way up towards Boar here. Try and hold a longer sight in towards Trophy. There is a single panel reinforcement with Kool-Aid playing a little bit closer inside of the actual site, and he's gonna have quite a bit of utility to try and deal with an aggressive push out of Forrest if he so chooses. He does have some stuns, and fortunately enough, for his sake, there's not a single bit of utility on the defense that can prevent him from stunning out Kool-Aid, but a bullet surely can if he does catch him in time. J9O will obviously be trying to work benches on the other end, while Astralis try and update their info and see where they can try and push through some of Parabellum's cracks.
Coming down to the last minute of play, so Astralis is more than likely going to start to speed things up here over the next 30 to 40 seconds. Set themselves up for that final execute, although they do still have the extra time to drone things out. Like I said, they need to start taking up positions to get themselves ready for the final swing to go into the actual site. Eska will be caught out as well here. Good opener from Fars as it eliminates the potential threat of those yokai 5 drones, especially when you consider the IQ was not brought this time by Astralis. Shuttle taking some heat, more likely from a Toxic Bane. We can see it there now. Over here outside of the connector. It's going to get real confusing for a second as Doc tries to stabilize things now toward that connector itself, but he's missed it. They've all made their way in, but still, they're not able to punish him. He gets the finisher onto the already down player and knocks out a second one. That's now left J9O as the only other member alive here for Astralis. PB once again has been set up for success. They just need to take it for themselves. J9O should have been able to see Asian working his way back out over towards top red. Won't know where he went from there, though, and that's the big issue. He's just grasping at straws here right now. There's no time to play into drones. I'm going to assume that... Oh, what a snapshot! Hold on! The hop over the top to shut down Asian gives the round to Astralis. What a clutch as they refuse to give up here as well.
Just take the fight, Asian! Just take the fight! Astralis, and specifically J9O, he plays it down to the wire. What a round from him. Oh my God. DP fired down, shuttle gone, and then J9O has to try and play tag with both of the remaining Parabellum players around the entirety of site. They play around the case, John, but somehow that goes awry. They're not ready for J9O to process what is happening in the moment. And he takes out both of them, giving Astralis the lead. It's 7-6. They're looking to take this in OT.
One more to go for Astralis, of course. PB now looking to bounce back over the next 2 rounds, but they need to be won outright. One on the attack, one on the defense here. Repick is going to show up for Asian. He's going to work himself over onto those Rotero drones instead of bringing the Nook to sneak themselves in. This will probably make pretty good sense when you consider that we are going to be going for another AVG hold from Astralis. They need to take out some of that interior site utility if they're able to get themselves in position for normal execute. That's not the way this game has played out so far, that we very rarely had a quote-unquote normal execute, so we'll have to wait and see how effective those will be, as he doesn't even end up going for it at the end of the day. We'll switch towards the Twitch when everything is said and done.
This match feels like you went to a concert and the opener, you didn't know them, right? You're just like, I really don't know if this is going to be good, and then they just set the place on fire, and you're like, I don't really know how. I went to go see like the Goo Goo Dolls.
They ended up being better than the headliners.
Yeah, right, exactly, and you're just like, oh my God. So I don't know how the rest of the day is going to stand up to this, but I can definitely tell you I am fully awake. There's a lot of adrenaline pumping through these veins right now, and you can probably say the same about both of these respective units. Astralis looking to build this up on defense for the last time here. Eska is going to have the opportunity of an aggressive peek coming his way. Shuttle will not end up getting anything on the receiving or delivering end, as there's just nobody home. He's going to back off the window. Some stuns out now. I think that they might know that Shuttle's actually in here, so he might be in hot water, although it might be unbeknownst to him.
Shuttle just patiently waiting this one out. Hoping he gets the hop. Gets it, but
God.
he can't get the shot. He overpeaks by just a tiny amount, and Doc is able to come back into it on the reswing when those shots come out. Take him down. Kool-Aid going to send out the well played as well for his fight. It transpires. There's another frag is given over to the players from PB. Forest, though, it's the first response back from Astralis. Things are getting epic right at the start of this game, right at the start of this round. We're going to have to try and get some control over it here. Astralis, of course, having to fall back deeper into the depths of their hold as they're now at a disadvantage, down to the 3v4 with J9O pretty decently injured as well.
Yeah, you'd think that's what would happen, don't you, John? But it's Astralis.
I know that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I highly doubt it happens. I really do. I think that we're going to see another gunfight before we even hit like the 50 mark, really. Kool-Aid quite low right now. Forrest trying to take it to bathroom. See, I told you, like, we are not resting on our laurels here. We are going for aggressive fights, even though Forrest will go down. Parabellum wants to tie this up yet again. Another swing out here from Astralis. They're going hunting. J9O, he's looking for Eska. He knows he's in the area. He's a lion in the bushes, and he'll take down the AST member. It's 7-7.
Even with a 90-degree angle, still not able to get the kill there on the final player. Unfortunate for the players over on Astralis as they come so close to victory, but are shut down pretty much instantaneously here. It all starts with Shuttle's play, unfortunately, and continues to evolve from that point forward. Astralis, we push to the edge once again as we go to a fully loaded map here. 15 rounds to settle this one, of course, at that 7-7 scoreline.
I didn't get any word. I'm going to assume it's a tech pause. I'm assuming
both to overtime.
It's all down to this. In the next 3 minutes and 40 seconds, we will know who exactly is the king of the day on Villa. between Astralis and Parabellum. And what a journey it's been so far. We've had a lot of highlight moments. I'd say for Astralis across the board, they're just looking as a more tight-knit team. They're getting a lot done, and the frag department especially across the board. Big plays out of J90, some solid moments out of DP Fire. Shuttle still a little bit quieter, but I'd like to see his total stats. It's been kind of difficult to keep track of those. I'd really like to see those at the end of the game to see really how he ended up turning out. But you could say the same for Parabellum, especially when you're looking at the likes of like Doc and Blaz. They have been doing so much heavy lifting for this team. Asian, not so much. He had a really, really rough start, but again, once we get those total stats at the end, it'll tell more of what we've been seeing throughout this fantastic game here for, well, Playday 5.
It's been far from perfect for both of these teams so far, but that has made it somewhat entertaining as well. Definitely going to be a lot to review once both of these teams get back to their houses and are able to take a look at the VOD. So betting there'll be a good amount of time spent using this one to prep, especially for Astralis. So they definitely seem to want to play onto Villa a lot, especially as of the past 2 weeks, obviously. But they definitely still have some improvements to make, especially from their defensive side. Thankfully for them, they got the attacking side for this final round. That'll give them a little bit of an edge, in my opinion. Pretty straightforward lineup to bring to bear on this one as well. Finally bringing the hard breach in that they had been missing for most of the regulation time. DP Fire not going to take a risk on that this time as he just brings the Thermite outright. We're also seeing a very similar lineup from PB that we had seen in the past. A bit more freedom to Kool-Aid, of course. He's going to bring the Alibi. It's a little bit more of an unfamiliar pick. I think we only saw it like once or twice in regulation. Everything else, though, is very much something that we'd seen plenty of back down in the previous half.
Yes, indeed. PB trying to slow down.
Oh, that was so
Astralis'
casual.
take, and yes, indeed, it was. Blaz placed that Nitro Cell right at the foot of the door for Study upstairs. So as seen immediately when he heard anybody step on wood, J90 gets blown sky high. That's all it takes.
Didn't
as
even
long
look
as you
at
know
it.
what he stepped on. Yep, that's it. That's all you need. So that's going to mean Astralis are down their Ash that just made a fantastic play to put them into this position at match point. Blaz is going to make it even worse here as Shuttle will go down. It's a 3 versus 5, and Astralis have to beg to get out of this hole.
And I mean, we're looking at PB, right? They've barely moved this entire time, just holding so far a position that Astralis have not been able to figure out, and unfortunately have baited themselves into at least 2 times here now to lead to their elimination. The first one, obviously, not much that player could do, just an unfortunate Nitro Cell position that they did not catch, either due to their teammates not droning it properly or them choosing not to. The second one, though, where things start to get a little bit less forgivable for Astralis here and how they're making these mistakes and how very potentially they could end up dropping the game. Blaz with another opportunity to pick up a 3rd kill there. The timing does not align though, but they have not realized he's here, I don't think. So he still has the capability to crunch late round if he's even going to be needed. Asian has picked up the 3rd kill. DP Fires down. It's up to the 2 superstars here. Forest and Iconic to make up the difference, but Iconic already down on the ground. Forest caught as he tries to hop in the window as well. Astralis goes down with a whipper on the final round, and PB take the map.
Wow, that's that last round. Very awkward for Astralis. Just could not get it back after that lead-off Nitro Cell kill. Starts the domino effect. Constant